Have you ever looked closely at a single penny and wondered how much history, artistry, and hidden stories are hiding in that tiny copper-colored circle in the palm of your hand? Today, we're going to dive deeper than most people ever do into one of the most common yet fascinating coins in modern American pockets, the 2016 Lincoln cent. Even though most people see it as simply a single cent of spending power, it's a tiny slice of American history, design decisions, minting technology, and even the psychology of collectors who sometimes dream that a single penny might be worth a fortune. So, sit back, relax, and let's talk for as long as you're willing to listen about one humble but intriguing coin, the 2016 penny. First, let's paint the picture of what this coin actually is. If you pull a 2016 penny from your change jar, you'll immediately see the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln staring to the right. His image has been on the United States 1-cent coin since 1909. That was the centennial of Lincoln's birth, and it marked the first time in American history that a real historical person appeared on a regular circulating coin. Before Lincoln, U.S. coins featured representations of liberty, various symbolic figures, or abstract designs, but no real people. When the Lincoln cent appeared, it was a significant cultural shift, showing how deeply Americans felt connected to the legacy of the 16th president. So let's talk about that design. On the front of the 2016 penny, which we call the obverse side in numismatics, the fancy term for coin collecting, we see Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln. The portrait is dignified and reserved, showing Lincoln's bust from the shoulders upward. Brenner, the designer, originally placed his initials, VDB, at the bottom of the reverse side, when the Lincoln cent was first issued in 1909. However, those initials sparked a public controversy because some people thought they were too large and conspicuous. They were removed quickly after the first few million coins were struck in 1909, creating the famously rare 1909 SVDB cent, one of the most desirable pennies among collectors today. On modern Lincoln cents, including the 2016 penny, Brenner's initials are back, but they're discreetly tucked into Lincoln's shoulder, just below the truncation of the bust. You'll need a magnifying glass or a good camera zoom to see them. It's one of those delightful details coin collectors love, a hidden signature from a man who left an enormous mark on American coinage history. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God We Trust." This national motto first appeared on U.S. coins during the Civil War and has remained a staple of American money ever since. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word, "Liberty." To the right, you'll find the date, in this case, 2016, and right beneath the date is the small D Mint mark, standing for the Denver Mint, the facility that produced your particular penny. Now, let's talk about the reverse side of the 2016 penny. Instead of the older, wheat ears design that collectors loved on earlier Lincoln cents, the modern penny shows the Union Shield. This design was introduced in 2010 to replace the 4 different reverse designs that commemorated Lincoln's bicentennial in 2009. The shield itself has 13 vertical stripes, representing the original 13 colonies of the United States. Across the shield runs a single horizontal banner inscribed with the word, "E pluribus unum," which means, "Out of many, one." This phrase refers to the unity of the states forming one nation. Above the shield arches the legend, "United States of America," and below it sits the denomination, 1 cent. The shield design symbolizes the federal government's role in preserving the Union. It's a strong image, intended to evoke Lincoln's own legacy as the president who kept the United States together during its bloodiest conflict. It might seem small and insignificant on a coin, but symbols like this carry immense meaning for those who study history and numismatics. So, physically, the 2016 penny is quite modest. It's made of copper-plated zinc, a composition introduced in 1982 when copper prices skyrocketed and it became too expensive for the U.S. Mint to produce solid copper pennies. Prior to that, pennies were mostly 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Since 1982, though, the penny has been 97.5% zinc with only a thin 2.5% plating of copper on the outside, giving it that familiar reddish color. The coin weighs just 2.5 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. It's light, thin, and easy to overlook. Yet there are millions of people who search through pennies every day hoping to find the one special piece that could be worth a fortune. This brings us to one of the most intriguing aspects of coin collecting. Why do people think pennies could be worth huge sums of money? And why might someone believe a 2016 D penny could be valued at $42 million? Well, that's the magic and sometimes the myth of numismatics. Rare error coins, unusual varieties, or coins in perfect, pristine condition, what collectors call mint state or proof coins, can sometimes sell for significant sums. But let's be honest, even the most valuable pennies rarely exceed a few $1,000s, unless we're talking about the truly legendary rarities like the 1943 copper penny or the 1909 SVB. Sent the idea that a 2016 D penny is worth $42 million is, unfortunately, pure fantasy. There is currently no known 2016 D Lincoln set worth anywhere remotely near that amount. However, the rumors and myths often spread on social media, in clickbait articles, or in online videos that suggest modern pennies could fetch tens of millions of dollars. Often, these stories cite unusual error coins or rare varieties, but they tend to blur the line between fact and fantasy. It's true that some modern coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if they have dramatic errors, like major double strikes, off-center strikes, or unusual die clashes. But $42 million? That's a price territory reserved for ultra-rare historical coins like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, which sold for over $18 million, or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, which has approached $10 million. A modern penny has yet to enter that league. Still, the search for valuable pennies remains a popular hobby, and it's easy to see why. Imagine the thrill of finding a tiny treasure in your pocket change, something rare, historic, or unusual that could be worth more than face value. That possibility keeps collectors scanning coins under magnifying glasses, researching varieties, and learning the subtle details of mint marks, die states, and coin finishes. And the 2016 D penny, though extremely common, is not entirely without interest for collectors. There are subtle varieties and errors that people search for. For example, sometimes a die can crack, leaving a small raised line on the coin's surface. These are called die cracks, and while they rarely make a coin hugely valuable, they do attract collector attention. Another example is a double die, where elements of the coin design appear double because of a manufacturing error during the die-making process. Such errors are highly prized, but so far no famous double dies have emerged from the 2016 D penny series. That said, collectors always remain hopeful. Even the grade of a coin affects its value dramatically. The vast majority of 2016 D pennies are circulating coins that show scratches, nicks, and wear from daily use. These are typically worth face value, 1 cent. However, coins graded MS67 or MS68 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch a few dollars, or sometimes even tens of dollars, simply because of their pristine surfaces, sharp details, and attractive luster. But it's a far cry from $42 million. People also enjoy collecting coins by year and mint mark. The Denver Mint, marked with the letter D, struck billions of pennies in 2016. The total mintage of 2016 D pennies exceeded 4 billion coins. With so many made, the chances of finding a truly rare 2016 D penny are quite low. But for collectors building complete date and mint sets, it's still an essential piece of the modern Lincoln cent collection. Another aspect that sometimes confuses people is the coin's metal content. Some assume pennies are still made mostly of copper and might be worth more than face value because of the metal. But remember, modern pennies since 1982 are primarily zinc, so their melt value is less than 1 cent. In fact, melting pennies for their metal content is illegal under U.S. law. The government forbids melting down coins for profit because it would create shortages and disrupt the coinage system. So even though the penny appears copper-colored, its true value in metal is extremely small, yet the fascination endures. There's something magical about coins, these little metal discs that travel through time and touch millions of lives. They're part of history, art, economics, politics, and human stories. Even the humblest coin carries symbols of a nation's identity and values. The 2016 D penny, with Lincoln's stern gaze and the Union shield on its reverse, speaks of unity, liberty, and the enduring memory of one of America's greatest presidents. If you ever get the chance, pull out a magnifying glass and look at all the tiny details on a 2016 D penny. Look for Lincoln's hair texture, the folds in his clothing, the fine lines in the Union shield. Check for tiny die cracks, doubling, or unusual marks that might hint at an error coin. Study the surfaces under bright light to see how the luster reflects off the copper plating. Even if your penny isn't worth thousands, and certainly not $42 million, you might discover a new appreciation for the artistry and history hiding in plain sight. Let's keep exploring the world of the 2016 D penny, because while it's easy to dismiss it as just a cent, the truth is there's an incredible process behind how each of these coins is made. When we talk about the 2016 D Lincoln cent, that little D mint mark under the date tells us it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for striking America's circulating coins. The Denver Mint has a fascinating history of its own. It opened officially as a branch mint in 1906, though it had roots earlier as an assay office during the Colorado Gold Rush days. Today, it's a huge operation capable of producing billions of coins per year. And when I say billions, I'm not exaggerating. In 2016 alone, the Denver Mint struck over 4.28 billion pennies. That's an almost unfathomable number of coins, enough to fill entire warehouses with copper-colored discs. Picture an endless sea of shiny Lincoln portraits, fresh off the coin presses, rattling down conveyor belts before being bagged and shipped all across the country. Each one of these pennies goes through a precise, high-speed manufacturing process. It starts with coils of zinc rolled into thin strips. These strips are about as wide as a sheet of paper is long, and they're plated with a thin layer of copper to give the final coin its reddish tone. From those coils, blank discs are punched out. These discs are called blanks, and at this stage, they have no images or lettering yet. They're simply round, flat pieces of copper-plated zinc. Those blanks are then heated in an annealing furnace to soften the metal. This makes them easier to strike with the dies without cracking or splitting. After annealing, they're washed, dried, and run through an upsetting mill, which raises a slight rim around the edge. That rim helps contain the design when the coin is struck, ensuring sharp, clear details on the final piece. Next comes the actual striking process. Each blank is fed into a coining press, where two steel dies come together under immense pressure. For modern pennies, the pressure can reach as much as 40 to 60 tons per strike. The obverse die carries Lincoln's portrait and inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date with the mint mark. The reverse die holds the Union shield design, the motto, "E pluribus unum," and the words, "United States of America," and 1 cent. When the dies strike the blank, The metal flows into every detail of the design. The fine lines in Lincoln's hair, the tiny letters, the vertical stripes of the shield. It happens in a split second, but the result is a tiny masterpiece of precision engineering. After striking, the coins are inspected by quality control systems to catch errors or defects. Coins that pass inspection are counted, bagged, and distributed through the Federal Reserve System. From there, they travel to banks, stores, cash registers, and ultimately into our pockets and change jars. This high-speed production process explains why modern pennies are rarely scarce. Billions of them exist, which is why a typical 2016 D penny you find in your change is worth only its face value of 1 cent. However, errors can happen, and that's where things get interesting for collectors and dreamers alike. Errors are a fascinating part of coin collecting. Even with modern technology, mistakes slip through the minting process. For example, sometimes the dies become misaligned, striking the design off-center. Other times, the dies clash together without a blank in between, leaving a ghostly impression of the reverse design on the obverse die or vice versa. Sometimes foreign objects fall into the coining press, creating dramatic indentations or marks on the finished coins. These errors are unique. Each one is a kind of accidental artwork, and collectors love them. However, there's a huge difference between legitimate mint errors and common circulation wear or damage. Many people see scratches, dents, or staining on a penny and think it's an error worth big money. In reality, most of those marks are just post-mint damage. Things like coins being run over by cars, smashed in vending machines, or simply worn down by years of use. These damaged coins aren't collectible and generally hold no extra value. Then there's the world of varieties. A variety is a coin produced intentionally or unintentionally with a slight difference from the normal design. This could be a double die, a repunched mint mark, or subtle design tweaks. One of the most famous double dies is the 1955 Lincoln cent, where the date and lettering appear dramatically doubled. Those coins can sell for thousands of dollars even in circulated condition. But to date, no significant double die has been confirmed for the 2016 D penny. Collectors keep looking though, because sometimes a new discovery surfaces years after a coin was minted. So why do we see so many internet claims that a modern penny like the 2016 D might be worth $42 million? It's a fascinating blend of human psychology, viral social media posts, and misunderstandings about how coin values work. Many viral videos and clickbait articles circulate online with headlines like, "Check your change, this penny is worth millions," or "This rare penny could make you a millionaire." These stories mix truth with exaggeration. Yes, some pennies can be valuable, but usually they're older coins from rare years, or coins with significant errors or high grades. People love the idea of striking it rich from something as ordinary as pocket change. It's like a modern treasure hunt, low risk, high fantasy payoff. The dream of discovering a fortune in a jar of coins is deeply appealing. It's why so many people still sift through pennies, year after year, searching for rare dates, mint errors, or hidden varieties. It's the same reason people buy lottery tickets or search for lost gold. The possibility, however remote, fuels hope and excitement. Unfortunately, this also leads to confusion and even disappointment. Someone might see a video claiming a 2016 D penny is worth millions, check their own coin, and believe they've become an instant millionaire. But when they try to sell it, they discover the harsh truth: their penny is worth 1 cent. It's a painful letdown, and it's why responsible coin dealers and collectors always stress education. Knowledge is the key to understanding what truly makes a coin rare and valuable. Still, let's imagine a story for a moment, a fictional what if. Imagine someone digging through a dusty jar of pennies and finding a 2016 D penny with an incredible, never-before-seen mint error. Suppose this hypothetical coin was struck on a silver planchet instead of copper-plated zinc. A major mistake because no silver planchets should exist for pennies in modern times. Suppose, somehow, the design was dramatically doubled, with crisp, visible doubling on Lincoln's face and a shield on the reverse. Suppose it was in flawless condition, gleaming with brilliant luster under the lights. Such a coin would indeed be a numismatic sensation, a unique modern error, the only one of its kind. Could it reach an auction price in the millions? Possibly, though $42 million is still extremely unlikely. Even legendary U.S. coins, like the 1933 Double Eagle, only crossed the $18 million mark. But in our fictional scenario, let's say it did happen, and suddenly the humble 2016 D-penny rocketed to fame as the most expensive modern coin ever sold. Stories like that fuel the modern penny hunt. People love the idea that the extraordinary might be hiding among the ordinary. It's why, despite knowing the odds, collectors keep searching rolls of coins from the bank, buying magnifiers, and learning to spot tiny variations. The thrill of discovery, even if it's just a minor die crack or a small doubled letter, is part of what makes coin collecting so addictive. In reality, though, the vast majority of 2016 D pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. If you want to collect modern pennies, the best reason is for the love of history, design, and the satisfaction of building a complete set. Many collectors assemble penny albums with spaces for every year and mint mark. For them, the 2016 D penny is simply another essential piece in the ongoing story of the Lincoln cent, a series that stretches back over a century, from 1909 to today, and let's not underestimate how much artistry goes into even these common coins. The 2016 D penny is a work of tiny sculpture. Look at Lincoln's hair, the curve of his cheek, the stern set of his lips. Look at the Union shield, with its vertical stripes and central bar. Even on a coin mass-produced in the billions, the engravers and mint staff strive to create a design that's crisp, balanced, and deeply symbolic. It's true that inflation has eroded the purchasing power of a penny. Once upon a time, a penny could buy a piece of candy, a newspaper, or even help pay for a loaf of bread. Today, it seems almost insignificant, the coin many people drop into tip jars or leave in "take a penny, leave a penny" trays at convenience stores. There's even frequent debate about whether the U.S. should stop minting pennies altogether. But as long as the penny continues to circulate, collectors will keep searching for those hidden gems, the errors, varieties, and perfect high-grade examples that transform a humble coin into a small piece of treasure. And maybe, just maybe, the hope will linger that one day a modern penny like the 2016 D might surprise everyone with an astonishing discovery. Until then, we'll keep learning, searching, and enjoying the fascinating world of numismatics, where even the smallest coin carries stories of history, artistry, and possibility. Let's keep diving deeper into this tiny but fascinating coin we call the 2016 D Lincoln cent. We've already explored how it's made, what it looks like, and why people dream it might be worth a fortune. But there's another crucial piece of the puzzle when it comes to coin values, and that's how coins are graded. Grading is one of the biggest factors that determines whether a penny is worth just 1 cent or potentially several dollars, or in rare cases, thousands of dollars. It all comes down to the coin's physical condition. You might have two 2016 D pennies side by side. Both have the same date, the same mint mark, and the same design. But if one is beat up from years of circulation, covered in scratches, dirt, and wear, and the other is flawless, shining like a tiny jewel with sharp details, those two coins can have very different values. Coin grading is the science, and sometimes the art, of assessing a coin's state of preservation. Professional grading services use a numeric scale called the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A grade of 1 is known as poor, meaning the coin is so worn that the design is barely visible. A grade of 70 is called perfect mint state, meaning the coin has no visible imperfections even under magnification. For modern pennies, like the 2016 D, most coins you find in pocket change fall somewhere between grades 10 and 40. They're considered circulated coins, showing obvious wear and handling marks. Those coins are typically worth only face value, 1 cent, but things get interesting when you look at high-grade coins. The top of the scale for modern pennies is where the real collector action happens. Grades of MS60 through MS70 are known as mint state grades, meaning the coin never entered circulation and retains its original mint luster. Within mint state grades, there's a world of difference between a coin that's MS63, decent but with noticeable marks, and one that's MS67 or higher, which is practically flawless. Let's talk specifics. For the 2016 D penny, high-grade examples graded MS67 red by a service like PCGS or NGC might sell for several dollars, sometimes $10 to $30 or a bit more, depending on the current market. Coins graded MS68 red can occasionally bring higher prices because they're so much rarer. The population of coins in MS68 or above is extremely tiny compared to the billions of coins minted. Collectors pay a premium for perfection, even in modern issues. Now, when we say red, we're talking about the color designation for copper coins. Copper changes color over time, turning brown as it reacts with oxygen and moisture in the air. Coin grading services assign color grades like red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, to indicate how much original reddish copper luster remains. A modern penny in full blazing red is more desirable and valuable than one that's toned brown. That's why collectors love coins straight from mint rolls or original bank boxes. These coins often have a brilliant red finish with sharp strikes and minimal contact marks. Some collectors hunt entire rolls of 2016 D pennies, hoping to find just one coin worthy of a high mint state grade. When collectors believe they've found a superb coin, they often send it to a professional grading service. Companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, are among the most trusted names in the business. These services examine the coin under powerful magnification, grade it on the Sheldon scale, assign a color designation, and encapsulate it in a hard plastic holder known as a slab. Each slab has a label indicating the coin's grade, year, mint mark, and sometimes special designations like first strike or early releases. This certification process helps protect buyers and sellers. It guarantees that the coin has been professionally authenticated and graded, reducing the risk of counterfeits or misrepresented coins. The slab itself acts as a shield, preventing further handling damage. Collectors and investors alike rely on these services to establish market value. Now, let's talk about market value. Despite all the excitement and social media hype, the 2016 D penny remains a modern, common issue. Billions exist. The overwhelming majority are worth only a cent. Even high-grade examples, while collectible, rarely break into high-value territory. You might see auction listings where a 2016 D penny graded MS67 RD sold for $25, or maybe $50 in rare cases, but that's far from millions of dollars. Why then do so many people keep checking their pennies, hoping they've found a treasure? Partly, it's because of stories from genuine rare coins of the past. Take the famous 1943 copper penny. During World War II, pennies were supposed to be struck on zinc-coated steel to save copper for the war effort. But a few copper planchets accidentally got mixed in, producing genuine 1943 copper cents. Today, those coins can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even over $1 million in some cases. It's an incredible true story of a mistake that turned a humble cent into a legendary rarity. Or look at the 1909 SVB penny, which we've mentioned before. The San Francisco Mint struck only about 484,000 of those coins, making them scarce from day one. Today, high-grade examples easily sell for thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands in superb condition. Those true stories fuel hope that a modern penny like the 2016 D might hide a secret rarity. People see viral videos or articles claiming modern pennies are worth millions and want to believe they've found the next treasure. But the truth is that modern coin production is incredibly precise. Major errors still happen, but they're far less common than in earlier eras. It's possible that a dramatic new error could emerge in a modern series, but until one is discovered and confirmed by experts, it remains in the realm of possibility rather than reality. Another factor driving penny searching is the sheer fun of the hobby. Even if you're not finding million-dollar rarities, the hunt itself is engaging. It's like searching for hidden Easter eggs. You're looking for doubling, die cracks, plating blisters, or other minor varieties. Finding an unusual coin, even if it's worth just a few dollars, feels like a tiny victory. It's a connection to history and craftsmanship that most people overlook in their everyday exchange. Coin collecting also builds knowledge. The more you study pennies, the better you get at spotting subtle differences. You learn to look for things like weak strikes, filled die areas where letters or details appear blurry, or small die scratches known as die polish lines. You start recognizing the difference between genuine mint errors and post-mint damage. That knowledge transforms a simple hobby into a lifelong passion. Beyond the technical side, there's a human connection in collecting coins. People share their finds in online forums, social media groups, and coin shows. Stories fly back and forth about discoveries, auction results, and the latest rumors of rare varieties. Collectors love to help each other identify coins, evaluate condition, and learn more about the hobby. It's a community built on shared curiosity. Interestingly, while all this is happening, there's an ongoing debate about whether the penny should even exist. Many economists argue that the penny has become obsolete. The cost to produce a single penny often exceeds its face value. Each costs about 2.5 cents to manufacture when you include materials, labor, and distribution. That means taxpayers spend millions each year just to keep the penny in circulation. Plus, inflation has eroded the penny's purchasing power. It no longer buys much of anything on its own. Countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand have already eliminated their lowest denomination coins. Prices in stores simply round up or down to the nearest 5 cents. Many Americans wonder if the U.S. should do the same, retiring the penny once and for all. Yet despite these arguments, the penny persists. Partly it's inertia. The public is accustomed to pennies. Some people fear that eliminating them could lead to price increases due to rounding. Others feel sentimental about Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the coin. And of course, for coin collectors, even modern pennies remain an important part of the hobby. If the penny were ever discontinued, it might become more collectible in the long run. Suddenly, people would start hoarding pennies as relics of the past. Future generations might look back at coins like the 2016 D and think of them as interesting historical artifacts. It's happened before. When the U.S. discontinued the half cent in 1857, it soon became a collector's item. The same could happen with the penny one day. Until that day comes, though, the humble penny continues its journey through our pockets, cash registers, and coin jars. The 2016 D penny is part of that ongoing story. Billions exist, yet each coin has traveled its own path, passing through countless hands, witnessing everyday life across America. A penny might buy a few minutes on a parking meter, rest in a child's piggy bank, or be dropped on the sidewalk, waiting for someone to pick it up for luck. Collecting modern pennies is often more about the experience than the potential profit. Even if your 2016 D penny is worth only face value, it's a piece of history, a miniature work of art, and a reminder of the stories hidden in plain sight. And who knows? As technology evolves and new errors occasionally slip through, there's always the slim chance that some extraordinary variety might appear in the future, making headlines and sparking another wave of excitement. So the next time you spot a 2016 D penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to appreciate the details, the fine lines of Lincoln's beard, the lettering around the rim, the Union shield on the reverse. Think about the machines that struck it, the workers who handled it, the symbolism it carries, and the long chain of history that stretches from 1909 all the way to the present. That tiny coin, worth only 1 cent, contains worlds within it. Let's continue our journey into the world of the 2016 D. Lincoln cent. Because the story isn't just about metal and numbers. It's also about people. About collectors, hunters, dreamers, and everyday folks who find a tiny bit of wonder in the smallest denomination of American money. One of the most fascinating parts of coin collecting is the hobby of roll searching. Have you ever seen someone walk out of a bank carrying a heavy bag of penny rolls? That's a roll hunter, and they're hoping to find something special hidden among thousands of ordinary coins. It's one of the most accessible ways to participate in the hobby. You don't need millions of dollars to hunt for treasures. Just a few bucks to trade for coin rolls, a good light, maybe a magnifying glass, and a bit of patience. Roll searching is like modern treasure hunting. A typical penny roll contains 50 coins, 50 chances to discover an error, a variety, or a high-grade piece worthy of sending in for grading. Some collectors focus on older coins, hoping to find pre-1982 solid copper cents, which many people keep for their copper value. Others look for rare dates, unusual mint marks, or errors. Even modern rolls, like those containing 2016 D pennies, are searched carefully. Although no major double die has yet emerged for the 2016 D, roll hunters examine each coin for tiny anomalies. They check Lincoln's bow tie, the letters of Liberty, and the vertical lines on the shield. They search for die chips, tiny blobs of extra metal caused by a damaged die, and die cracks, which look like raised lines across the coin's surface. They examine the letters and numbers for doubling. It can be meticulous work. Imagine peering at coin after coin under bright lights, the copper gleaming back at you, your eyes scanning for anything unusual. Sometimes hours pass without a single interesting find. But then you spot something odd, a little notch, a shifted letter, a raised bump where no bump should be. Your pulse quickens. Could it be a new error variety? Could you be the first to discover it? That's the addictive part of role searching, the possibility that you might find something nobody else has ever seen. It's like prospecting for gold, except your raw material is modern pocket change. When collectors do find potential varieties, they often turn to reference books, websites, and forums to compare their coins against known errors. One of the most trusted resources is the Cherry Picker's Guide to Rare Die Varieties. This book catalogs hundreds of known varieties across U.S. coins, with close-up photos showing exactly what to look for. If your find matches a known variety, you've confirmed a real discovery. If not, you might be on the edge of reporting a new one. New varieties are sometimes submitted to organizations like CANICA, the Combined Organizations of Numismatic Error Collectors of America. These groups study photos, verify the differences, and assign a variety number. Once a new variety is documented, it can start appearing in coin price guides, auction listings, and collector conversations. It's a way for ordinary collectors to contribute to the numismatic world. Imagine the thrill of discovering a brand new double die variety for the 2016 D penny. Your name would go into numismatic history as the discoverer. Even if it didn't make you rich, it's a kind of legacy. You've added something new to the catalog of American coinage. Of course, not every unusual coin turns out to be valuable. Many so-called errors people find are actually machine doubling, plating bubbles, or postmint damage. Machine doubling happens when the dies bounce slightly during striking, leaving a flat, shelf-like doubling effect. True double dies involve design elements being doubled on the die itself, creating more dramatic and rounded doubling. Collectors learn to tell the difference through practice and study. Beyond the technical side, there's a human side to penny collecting that's deeply moving. For many people, pennies are symbols of memory. Perhaps a person remembers getting pennies as change from a candy store as a child, or saving them in a piggy bank, or tossing them into a wishing fountain and making a silent hope for the future. Pennies appear in weddings, tucked into shoes for good luck. They're found on gravestones, left as small tokens of remembrance. A simple copper coin becomes a thread connecting people through time. Even Abraham Lincoln himself carries enormous emotional weight in American culture. His face on the penny isn't just a portrait. It's a reminder of a man who led the nation through its most bitter conflict, preserved the Union, and issued the Emancipation Proclamation. His presence on the smallest coin in our pockets keeps his memory circulating through the country every day. Think about it. Billions of 2016 pennies exist. They've traveled in the pockets of construction workers, teachers, cashiers, and students. They've bought cups of coffee, paid parking meters, and rested forgotten in couch cushions. Each coin is a tiny ambassador of American history and commerce. When you hold a penny, you're holding a piece of the national story. Some of the most famous numismatists in American history were drawn to pennies. People like Victor D. Brenner, who designed the Lincoln Cents original portrait, were driven by an obsession with detail and symbolism. Others, like Dr. William H. Sheldon, who created the 70-point grading scale still used today, were fascinated by how condition transforms value. Even casual collectors find themselves swept into the hobby's emotional world. A person might start by saving coins from pocket change, and before long, they're buying coin albums, attending coin shows, and joining online forums to share their finds. Friendships grow from shared discoveries. Stories circulate of collectors who found rare varieties in ordinary rolls. These stories keep hope alive that there's still treasure waiting out there. Some collectors remember coins they inherited from parents or grandparents. A cigar box filled with old wheat pennies, Indian head cents, or other relics. Even if the coins aren't worth much in monetary terms, They become priceless family heirlooms. They're artifacts of family history, connecting generations. This personal connection is one of the reasons why the idea of eliminating the penny is so controversial. Economically, it might make sense to stop minting it, but emotionally, many people aren't ready to let it go. The penny feels like a piece of Americana, a reminder of the past, a familiar, comforting constant in an ever-changing world. And Lincoln himself seems perfectly suited for the penny. He was born in a log cabin, rose from poverty, and became president during the nation's darkest hour. In many ways, the penny represents that story, humble, common, yet deeply significant. Lincoln's image on billions of small coins keeps his legacy alive in everyday life. Collectors often speak of the penny that started it all. For some, it was finding a wheat cent in their change and wondering what year it was minted. For others, it was hearing about the legendary 1943 copper cent and dreaming of discovering one. Even modern pennies like the 2016 can spark curiosity. Maybe you noticed the crisp lines of Lincoln's portrait or the modern Union shield on the reverse and decide to learn more. That's the secret power of coins. They're tiny objects, but they open vast worlds of history, art, and human connection. You might start with a single penny, but you end up studying mint processes, reading about historical figures, learning Latin phrases like "e pluribus unum," and even delving into metallurgy to understand copper and zinc compositions. And let's not forget the joy of finding beauty in small things. Under magnification, even an ordinary 2016 penny reveals incredible artistry. You can see the fine hairlines in Lincoln's beard, the delicate folds in his coat, the precise lettering of the mottos. The Union shield's lines and spaces are perfectly balanced. It's easy to dismiss modern coins as mass-produced, but behind every design is an engraver who sweated over tiny details to make each coin visually balanced and symbolically rich. Some collectors say the penny teaches patience and humility. You can't rush the search. You might look through thousands of coins without finding anything rare. But in the process, you develop a keen eye, an appreciation for detail, and a deeper understanding of American history. Even if your finds are small, the experience itself is rewarding. So, while there may be no 2016 D penny worth $42 million, there's still tremendous value in the humble coin. If not financial, then certainly in knowledge, connection, and the joy of discovery. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone who occasionally glances at the date on your change, you're participating in a tradition that spans centuries. And who knows? The next great discovery might be waiting. Maybe one day, someone will stumble upon a new error or variety in a roll of 2016 D pennies. A double die so dramatic it makes headlines. Until then, we'll keep hunting, learning, and marveling at these tiny discs of metal that somehow carry both art and history in the palm of our hands.